Oh my God. Tyson Fury finally admits that Anthony Joshua would get knocked out in one round by Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, ex-WBC champion of the world. We're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Link in the description. Tyson Fury says Deontay Wilder would knock out Anthony Joshua in the first round. You guys see this? In the first round. Not the second, the first round. And he says the British rival is a businessman. So it doesn't sound like Fury has too much faith in Anthony Joshua. So we all know this was a crazy stare down Wilder, and this is what Fury said to Sky Sports. Link in the description, right? I'll deal with these guys later. The most important thing to me is Wilder, the most dangerous heavyweight in the world, who would knock out Anthony Joshua in the first round. He exclusively told Sky Sports. In the first round, people. I've got to get past Wilder, then those guys will get their 5 minutes of fame. I'll give them the biggest beatdown they have had in their entire lives. As I've told Eddie Hearn, the difference between me and them is they are businessmen and I'm a Spartan. This talk of undisputed means nothing to me. I'm not Eddie Hearn or Anthony Joshua. I fight because this is what I do. It's what I was born to do. I've got nothing personal against Wilder. I don't care about the belts or that stuff being remembered. I care about smashing people. If Wilder is in front of me, I will give him a good hiding. The motivation, it's what I was born to do. I'm not interested in money, belts, or whatever comes with it. I'm interested in blood and the fight. Wilder, I guess, says he should worry he didn't knock me out in an exclusive with Sky Sports. Wilder, whose undefeated record and world title reign ended in the last fight, yada, yada, yada. He says, even under the circumstances that I was under, he can't even knock me out. I was alive and well, still standing on my feet. So Tyson Fury has a lot to worry about, not me. Like I said, the truth shall set you free. This is retaliation. Fury said, I don't think I could win more conclusively if there was 6 of me in the ring. I hope to do more of the same. Right? So you heard it there. Fury believes that Joshua will get ripped apart and beaten by Deontay Wilder in one round, and he's a businessman as opposed to a fighter. Now, boom! Let's talk about it. So, for starters, we gotta address the elephant in the room like only I could do. Before I get started, my name is Ego. Welcome to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. I drop daily boxing content, live streams, share the content. If you enjoy the content, get the likes up. Consider subscribing or hitting the bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. There's so many dope fights coming up. I'll be working hard this summer. Let's go. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Top stories. Anthony Joshua 2 days ago is, encompassed by ESPN. Anthony Joshua says he's doubtful the Tyson Fury fight will ever happen, according to his promoter, Eddie Hearn. Keep in mind, these are the same 2 individuals who lied to the public and proclaimed that this fight, undisputed, along with old media, they proclaimed that this fight was done. They said it was done. Saudi Arabia, the site fee, they said was ridiculous and they were going to live like kings and make so much money. Surprise, surprise. The fight did not materialize. Who on earth, and this is what I told you guys in real time while it was happening, who on earth would see one of the fighters involved in a 2-fight excursion going through a legal process, a mediation and arbitration process with Deontay Wilder and say, hey, let's negotiate another fight without even knowing the conclusion of the arbitration, and who decided that that would be a good idea. Now, I could understand if they negotiated and was like, zip it, and they were behind the scenes and they were discussing the fight unbeknownst to the public. Then that would make a lot of sense, just because it's not public knowledge. So when it doesn't happen, which it didn't happen, and then Fury got to fight Wilder, nobody would look too crazy. Nobody would look too crazy. It would just be a fight that no one knew about. But instead, what we had was Eddie Hearn, Blabbermouth, Motormouth, Tyson Fury proclaiming the fight, doing videos the day before the arbitration announcement, right? And I could really expose, but I don't want to tell my source. Tyson Fury's team at a certain point knew they really had to do a deal with Wilder. I know for a fact because there were conversations and meetings had, and guess what? Tyson Fury's team was a part of them. So it got to a point where they knew they had to fight Wilder, and the arbitration didn't really go their way. But yet and still, Tyson Fury, being the person he is, the Joker he is, he lied to everybody like he always does and says different things. You know, the other thing we have to address is Tyson Fury. He has nothing nice to say about Joshua, the guy he tried to run off and fight. So he's saying all this, oh, I'm a Leonidas, I'm a Spartan, I'm a gladiator, I don't care about money, I don't care about this. But this is also the guy who said he's going to donate his whole purse from the first Wilder fight to charity, which I believe he hasn't done. You know, this is the guy who's also going to Las Vegas in a Versace robe and, you know, acting like he's luxurious and things like that. And this is also a guy who's constantly wrong and constantly says whatever. One minute he says he's retiring, then he says he's not. He says he's going to fight Francis Ngannou and go to the MMA, then he doesn't. So this is just Tyson Fury's mechanism to just talk and, you know, I think it stems from a lack of confidence, and he's trying to build himself up. That's the only thing I can make of it. Or he's a habitual liar, has some other kind of psychological disorder or whatever. But yet and still, this is a terrible look because Joshua, his team, Fury, they all advocated for a fight knowing that Fury had to see Tyson Fury again. And I made videos about this. Wilder's wifey says, you know, Fury can't move on until he sees Wilder again, you know, and yet and still you had old media who kept advocating and said the fight's done and reporting the contracts were signed and reporting how much money Joshua and Fury were set to make. Fast forward to the future. Now Anthony Joshua is talking about he don't think the fight will ever happen. Now Tyson Fury is talking about, oh, if they were to fight, Wilder would destroy Joshua. So let's get this straight. You feel Wilder is so talented, even though you keep dissing him and saying he sucks and things like that. You think he's so talented he will bomb first and get Joshua out of here. And this is what Tyson Fury does. See, Tyson Fury, he's like a court jester. I told you guys. He's like a court jester. What he does, he'll say like a million things and you got to just pay attention. Some of the times he's actually telling the truth. He's actually telling you what he feels at times. But you got to sift through all the madness of the other, you know, filth, Lauren and filth that he's saying to determine that. And like when he says Wilder's dangerous and stuff like that, that's what he really believes. But in other interviews, he'll say Wilder's a bozo and you big dossa, he sucks. And, you know, it don't sound believable. And anybody that got to lie this much, it shows to me a lack of insecurity or lack of confidence and insecurities and things like that. So he's been on record multiple times thinking and saying that Wilder is levels above everybody but him. He says Wilder would annihilate Joshua and the rest of the heavyweights. This is Tyson Fury. He has interviews. You could type on YouTube. He says Wilder would annihilate the rest of the division, which begs the question that only I'm willing to ask. If you feel Wilder annihilates the rest of the division, right? Then why don't you give him his props? Look, Tyson Fury says Deontay Wilder annihilates the other heavyweights in the division. Tyson Fury gave his old nemesis a vote of confidence on Monday, saying that he annihilates every other heavyweight in the division. So once again, you see the walls are closing in for old media. It's looking real bad. You got people like Paulie Malignaggi, and he's acting, even though he's getting slapped by my boy Corey B with baby powder. He's acting like Wilder, you know, what happened in the second fight, there's nothing he could do, and he's going to get blasted out and eviscerated, no improvements, nothing he could do to get better. This is what Paulie Malignaggi and old media are acting like. But let Tyson Fury tell it. You could tell that he knows that Wilder's a danger because he just told you. I just told you who I thought I was. Oh, God. He says he's not worried about nobody else because he has to get past Wilder. So guys in old media like Paulie Malignaggi, and they're saying that Wilder has no chance and there's nothing he could do and this and that. Why are you showing the confidence that Tyson Fury clearly doesn't have? He doesn't have that confidence because he says, I'm not worried about the rest of the heavyweights. I got to worry and focus on the dangerous man in front of me. And that dangerous man in front of me, you know, I see people posting memes and this picture and stuff. But guess what? This is also the guy that Tyson Fury, out his own mouth, who he just told you he was going to fight for undisputed. He values Wilder more than he does Anthony Joshua because he says Joshua, in his opinion, would get knocked out in one round by Wilder. Right? So again, Tyson Fury, he's like the Riddler. He'll put the information out there, and what he's saying, sometimes it is true. You just got to decipher. So Wilder must be a real bad boy if at the end of the day, you have this much respect. No matter what Fury tells you, you respect the man on the screen because you think he beats all the other heavyweights. You said it out your own mouth. And when somebody keeps saying the same thing, they're probably saying it for a reason. Ironically enough, Sugar Hill is saying that Tyson Fury is now mysteriously a one-punch knockout artist. That's not even how that works. How do you just wait and have a 12-year pro career and then you just wake up and based on any style, now you're all of a sudden a one-punch knockout artist? So they need to check Fury's gloves. They shouldn't be able to wear Paffin gloves based on the condition that his last gloves look and the controversy there. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see about all this newfound power and things like that. But it's looking bad for old media. They continue to say Wilder got chicken legs and stuff, but this is the aftermath of opponents. Look at Luis Ortiz's face. He looks completely separated from his senses. And that's a Cuban great heavyweight who's bigger than Wilder, right? That's a crazy photo too. Crazy photo. Smash the like button. So you could tell Fury, no matter all the games and the other stuff he says, you could tell he knows Wilder's a threat. He's telling you. And he's telling you he's better than all these other heavyweights. So he'll lie and say he's not training and things like that. We know that's not the case. So it's just a bunch of games with Tyson Fury. But old media looks bad. People like Paulie Malignaggi, they're saying Wilder has no chance and things like that. But obviously Fury thinks he has a chance if he thinks the fight that he proclaimed he was having next, Wilder would run through him in one round. Use my link in the description to get TUBEBUDDY. TUBEBUDDY is an awesome browser extension to help you level up your YouTube content so you can make some money on this platform like yours truly. People will oftentimes indirectly give you compliments, you know, especially personality types like Fury. They're not going to just outright say Wilder's a beast and you got to watch out. You know, this man knocked me unconscious. He's a beast. You know, he's a monster. He's not going to say that. But listen to the other stuff he's saying. And it's saying a whole lot. Just like Wilder's silence at the press conference. Wilder's silence at the press conference spoke volumes. He's locked in, tunnel vision. People were like, oh, he's scared and whatever. At the end of the day, it's mysterious and you don't really know what he's thinking. He didn't look scared at the face-off with Tyson Fury. But I got some videos coming back. Use my link in the description to get TUBEBUDDY. An awesome way to level up your content. But that's a big prop for Deontay Wilder, and the haters aren't going to like it. Fury clearly thinks Wilder, he keeps telling you he thinks he's better than the guy he told you he was about to fight in Saudi Arabia. So again, it begs the question, why was he trying to go fight Joshua instead of wrapping up the trilogy, following the contract, giving Wilder his shot, and he was trying to run off to Saudi Arabia? But once again, like Wilder said, like I've told you, white privilege, you have the complexion for the protection. People act like Fury hasn't had zero title defenses of his title. Like he didn't try to run from Wilder rematches and stuff. Immediate rematches, you know? And that's the reality of it. You can say whatever you want, but that's the reality of it. You tried to fight Joshua and you're telling the whole entire world that Wilder is better than him. So why were you trying to fight him in Saudi Arabia instead of just closing up the Wilder chapter, beat him since you said he's easy work, then you move on? Let me know that in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Again, share the video. We working.